Good morning. I'm Madalina Duțamare. Today we are meeting to have a training on industry regarding IRIS case management for the post-authorization procedures of product lifecycle. So I'll start by giving you an overview of the house rules. This is a live broadcast and also a WebEx stream presentation and training. What is advised for you to do is to go on the event page and watch the live broadcast from there, since WebEx has a limited capacity of users which can log in and attend, and it would be also more efficient to have you watch the live broadcast from the website. The link is provided in the emails you received, and also you could search by the name of the event. Another point.
Sorry, just to add, I'll also paste the link in the Slido,
okay,
so that you can also find it there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Katerina. So the Slido is also open. You can see in the bottom of the page the code. So please log in there. Also ask your questions and access the link for the broadcast. It's really important that you could have access to this presentation live, as WebEx is limiting the users to 1,000, and we are around double that number. And thank you for joining in such large number. The session is being recorded. The recording and the presentation will be made available via the EMA Corporate Ops website and the YouTube channels. We will use Slido for interaction, so please log your questions in Slido, and your name will not be disclosed, so you can if you opt to remain anonymous, you of course consent to processing your personal data. So now let's start with the training per se. The agenda is as follows. We are going to go through the key actions for the marketing authorization holders before which need to be taken before the transition. We are going to go to Alex access for marketing authorization holders. Also I'll guide you on how to work on procedure management. Next steps, we'll also have Q&A session, and also keep in mind that there would be also Q&A breaks and quizzes around all along the presentation. This is your Slido code. I'll keep it for a while on the screen just to enable you to scan it in case you are logging from your phone. And now we are going to just have a recap on the IRIS transition scope. Many of you already are aware about the use of IRIS in the context of other procedures, which are managed at the European Medicines Agency. Probably you are aware of marketing status reporting, orphan designation, periodic procedures, vet signal management, scientific advice, primary eligibility, and parallel distribution. This year, at the beginning, we also started on a small sample on the product life cycle with a selected number of products for veterinary and human use. This was more for learning purposes and understanding additional requirements to be implemented in the system. However, the bigger milestone is for us end of this year and beginning of 2025, where all the workload for post-authorization procedures of the product lifecycle will be managed in Iris. At this stage, I'm emphasizing on managed because submission will stay the same, and only the management of the procedures is going to be performed in Iris, where we enable collaboration and exchange of information via the Iris portal, but I'm going to go in detail a little bit later. The learning objectives are as follows. Today we are going to go through and as an objective have a clear idea on the key actions for the marketing authorization holders users before the transition which will take place at the end of the year. We will learn how to access IAM and Iris and understand how to perform collaboration and communication for procedure management in the Iris industry portal. The key actions are, start with the information that there is a transition. So at the end of December 2024, we are yet to communicate the date to you, and that's actually because of the new fee regulation go live, which is coinciding with the Iris transition go live. So procedures submitted until the end of December 2024 are managed in SIAMED, which is EMA's current database, and the communication takes place as per 2 days format via UDRA link, exchanges of documents and information. From end of December 2024, these procedures will be still submitted on the gateway and PSUR repository as applicable. However, there would be a change in the system to manage the procedures. This is going to be Iris, and Iris will offer access to Iris portal for the marketing authorization holders. And their contact, the contact persons. This will be, of course, communicated in terms of notifications, and transparency is increased in terms of procedure management. Again, all procedure management for the EMA-led procedures is going to be managed in Iris after the end of December 2024. These also include procedures such as PSUR, PSUSA, NAP only, referral passes. So it's also about procedures which only have nationally authorized products. And these are the MRP, DCP, the pure nationally authorizations, and their combinations in a procedure with centrally approved products. It's also included in the transition. So any EMA-led procedure of the product lifecycle management. For this to be enabled, there are some actions you are required to perform. You may have received several emails to ask you to register and have an Iris account. This is required for centrally authorized products contact person. As you know, the centrally authorized products have a contact person recorded in EMA database. So those contacts need to have an Iris account and a role. And for the non-centrally approved products, so for the nationally approved products, you need to indicate a contact person only at the submission of the procedure, and in some cases the QPPV may be also the contact person by default. So that's in case of safety referrals, for example. So for CAPS, update of the product contact. For NAPS, there is a need to have an IRIS account for those contacts which are indicated for specific procedures, because there is no product contact stored at EMA. So that's the summary. I'm going to repeat it several times throughout the presentation, because there is a difference between centrally approved products and nationally approved products in terms of contacts. The access is going to be required via the EMA account management for industry affiliates roles, and instructions are also available on IRIS Guide to Registration and RPIs. Just going back slightly to the slide, because this is information for all the industry users. Also, bear in mind that after raising your request to service desk, it may take a while till the action is completed, since we received already quite few requests for updates. In the next slide, I'm going to focus on the centrally approved marketing authorization product contacts. Here, the situation is a little bit more complicated, because you could have two scenarios where the contact person remains unchanged, but the email needs to be updated, for example, due to a generic mailbox being connected to this contact. Generic mailboxes are not allowed because they are security issue, so they present a security issue, and they need to be updated with personal email addresses associated with a responsible contact person. So email addresses of individual but that's also for the nationally approved products. In terms of emails, your account has to be linked to a personal individual email address. If you only need to change the email, it means an update to the contact, and you will need to raise the tickets. The links are going to be provided in this slide presentation as well. You have also received email, detailed email instruction. However, if you need to change the product name, contact name, which would mean a change in the contact itself, so a replacement of the contact, you would need to submit the form on the EMA website, and instructions are provided for veterinary and human products on how to change your contact. Now, the centrally approved marketing authorization product contacts. There are some, of course, some role or activities and actions you can perform. As you know, marketing authorization holders for centrally approved products have the obligation to provide a product contact for communication between EMA and the marketing authorization holder. This is the contact provided in the EAF for marketing authorization application, section 2.4.3. This person is recorded in EMA databases for centrally approved products. They will be used as default contact communication for the IRIS case. After a case creation at the EMA side, you will receive a notification that there is a case available on the portal where you can access it. This enables you as a contact and a case manager on the IRIS portal to add other contributors or managers, and also change the portal contact. Every manager on a case can change the contact of the case on the portal. So, of course, I mentioned that you can collaborate, and every manager and contributor on the portal can also collaborate, view the case. There are a few differences in the roles, and I'm going to go through them a little bit later. What is very important, if you do not have an IRIS account, you cannot access the case via the IRIS portal, and you cannot access the case documents, which are important documents such as preliminary or final assessment reports, outcome documents, PRAC recommendation. That's something you need to keep in mind, and that's why we are emphasizing this information. So everyone who will work on a case will have an IRIS account and be able to perform their required actions. For the nationally approved products, so for the non-centrally approved product contacts, there is the requirement to only have an IRIS account if this contact is set or an email address is set as a contact for a specific procedure. For example, if you have a PSUR submission, you are requested on the repository to indicate a contact person at submission. This contact person and its email have to have an IRIS account. Now, in other cases, and it becomes a little bit more complex, the EMA may use the QPPV, for example, for safety referrals, which is recorded in XCV-MPD as a main contact. It's strongly recommended that all the QPPVs have also an IRIS account, so to ensure that they can collaborate and manage the portal contacts and the portal case accordingly. The same remark, if there is no IRIS account, there is no access on the portal or for the documents sent by EMA. The same principles apply. Once you are a contact for a procedure, you will receive a notification when the case is available in IRIS. You can change the contacts for that case. You can add managers, contributors, because you are a default case manager there. And you will receive as a contact the notification. So the difference between a manager and a manager with a contact role, it's the receipt of notification for the case. The visibility of the case on the portal is the same. Okay. Just waiting for my slide to change. Okay. I will now take over the screen and will demonstrate to you how the case is looking in IRIS, mostly in terms of exchange of the or change of the portal contact. I'm going to share, and I hope you could see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so I am on the testing interface of the IRIS portal. Your link is iris@ema.europa.eu. So that's something you need to maybe try to Google. This is the training webinar. So IRIS EMA. Sorry. Okay. This is your link to the real IRIS. I'm going to close it just to avoid any accidental login there. However, I'm here in the IRIS testing interface. What you will be requested to perform at first is a sign in. Of course, before signing in, you have quite some information here and guidance without restriction to a login. So I'm going to log into the portal. My name is here. You will see fewer options because being a test environment, I do have access to both a network and industry interface. So on your interface, you would see the submissions. And changing, of course, the contact would be under my ongoing submissions, which means there is a case which is recorded and it's ongoing, so it's not closed yet. So you will have here all the cases you have a role to. So you are either contributor manager to it, you could also be contact for some of them. So it doesn't mean that if it's on this list, you are contact automatically. Okay, so I am looking, for example, with the variation type 2. this is how my cases are showing. For the demo at this point, I'm going to only show you how to change the contact. There is a menu here where you can perform few actions. One of them is manage submission contact. You would have a window open, which will only show users which are affiliated to the same organization as you and can access this submission. So there's also a difference in how to, also in IAM, you would need to choose an organization which is relevant for the products you are including, and also the contact or the other managers will only be able to access this or to be added as managers if they have the same organization rights as you. So I will change submission contacts. I don't know if I have anything here, but usually you would have a list of other contacts. You would select them and you would save and return. So this is how it's going to work. Another action which is also important. So this information you will receive the submission creation regarding your procedure that you are the contact, and you can change and manage the case. So on this IRIS portal is called ongoing submissions. It is just a name because in other situations there is so submission also takes place on the IRIS portal for scientific advice, orphan designation processes. However, for the life cycle, so the post-authorization procedures, the submission takes place on the gateway and PSUR repository. And I'm going to repeat this a few times. So if I want to manage contributors or managers, I'm going to have to perform different actions. It's the same. Similar menu you can add. I don't know if I have anyone here. I do not, but if I had a person, I could add them. So if you don't find anyone here, means that the colleagues you want to add are not affiliated to the right organization, and that's something you need to address. So if I were to choose my contact, I would add them and save. Same for the changing of the managers. I can add, and you don't only change, you can also, of course, add more. So it's advised that more than one person has access to the case. So for example, I can add a manager here. And they would also have the option, being managers, to change the portal contact. So there's a difference between the contributor and the manager. So what I was mentioning is advice to have at least 2 managers on your case in case, so in a situation where you're not available for unforeseen reasons and you couldn't act upon this, there is someone else who can change the contact, who can take over the case. Of course, this action is possible also via the industry coordinator, which is a person in your company who can assign these roles to other colleagues. However, it's better to prevent rather than escalate when you could add colleagues as managers and contributors. Okay, with this, I will stop sharing my screen and we will go back to the quiz and the Q&A.
Thank you, Madalina. So I will now launch as a quick survey, a quick quiz, just with a couple of questions concerning what Madalina just explained. Feel free to start responding to that. You can find it on Slido. And meanwhile, while we respond, we will start answering the questions that you shared on Slido. So the quiz is now launched. Okay. So the most voted question is, does the QPPV need a role in IRIS?
Yes, ideally, yes. And because in the future, IRIS will be the only platform of case management at the European Medicines Agency. And this is the model. So in order to collaborate and communicate, you would have to have an IRIS account, and that's strongly encouraged. Of course, referrals are not so often, so we don't have them that often, fortunately, where you may be a default contact person, but there is a need for communication and collaboration overall, so you do need an IRIS role.
Thank you. Next, can the MAHs have a second person assigned to each product in IRIS in case of holidays or sick leave?
Currently not. We only have one person assigned for the product. We're looking into options, but for the time being, it's only one person, as you know. What is also important, if you submit a variation and then the contact is not available, you will have a IRIS coordinator in your organization, the one who approves the roles, and they can add managers and contributors to the case, and the manager can change the product or the case contact.
Thank you. Can you please confirm what level of access is required in IRIS for MAH named contacts for defects and recalls, EC decision, and scientific services? How will IRIS be used in relation to these people?
So IRIS currently is meant to be used in relation to this contact in only for communication, unless you give them a specific role. So you assign them later on if they're not yet contacts for the product also. And for communication purpose, there's also need to have an IRIS account. So that's the short line. The role, if they are not managing actively a procedure, could be of contributor. But they have, of course, limited rights on the procedure or on a given procedure. There's also, well, in my experience with your questions via service desk, there's also, for example, person for defect and recalls. They are a person can be a person affiliated, or the batch release person can be affiliated to another company, and they don't need access really to the procedures or to any product data. They could be affiliated to the company. So their roles can be affiliated in IAM to the companies they are employed for. This is just an IRIS account for the communication purpose. So it really depends on each organization how well they manage the access of their contacts.
Thank you. Could the IRIS manager contributors also receive the IRIS notification assigned to the case variation? Currently, only the MAH portal contact is receiving this notification.
Yes, you are correct. So only the portal contact receives this notification. There are in place options. For example, if you would like to set up an auto forward with specific rules. Currently, we do not provide this. This is not provided.
Thank you. How can we make sure inspection notifications goes to deputy QPPV as well as QPPV to ensure business continuity in case of QPPV absence?
I would not be able to respond this because this is related to another process types, and I'm not aware of all the rules there. So you may want to direct your question to Ask EMA.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. For PSUSA containing NAPs, how will EMA identify MAH single point of contact? Will communication during the procedure be sent to all MAHs, or it will be sent to QPPV as recorded in XCV-MPD?
So for PSURs, you are required to provide the contact at the submission. and that is going to be the contact for the nationally approved products. For the procedure contact is going to be the person you are indicating at the submission of the PSUR. And then this contact, of course, as mentioned, can change the portal contact and add managers and contributors to the procedure in the portal.
Thank you. I understand that referral procedures will be sent to the QPPV. Can another person or generic email be registered as well to ensure information is received also in case of absence of the QPPV?
So generic mailboxes are not allowed due to security reasons. And of course, in case of absence of the QPPV, there needs to be an arrangement in this situation to update either XCVMPD or, arrange the backup. If a communication has been sent, so a referral is something which is basically where information is widely available. If you hear your product is part of a referral, you can of course contact the EMA, but also your company coordinator can see on IRIS portal if there is any procedure regarding a referral. But backups should be ensured for your QPPVs. Generic emails are not allowed due to security reasons.
Thank you. Could you please make an example on the need to have IRIS account for non-CAP?
So the IRIS account for the non-CAP is required for procedures where non-CAPs are involved, such as PSURs, including nationally approved products, referral, and passes. That's why we need a contact for these procedures, which should have an IRIS account to enable collaboration and communication in the context of that procedure. And since IRIS will be the case management system at the EMA, and it offers mandatory use of the portal for collaboration, that's why the need to have an IRIS account.
Okay, thank you. Let's take a last one before continuing. Can only the MAH contact person access the communication via IRIS, or will it be visible for another person with an IRIS account if they use the link from the original communication?
If this another person does not have a role on the case, so it hasn't been assigned as a manager or contributor, they won't be able to see the case, even if they have a link. That's the security reason why you cannot access all the links you receive. And that's a good thing, actually. It's a very good thing because it protects the confidentiality of the data.
Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and look at
Can we take also this question?
Yes.
Because
yes.
it's a very interesting one.
Sorry, I cannot see it.
I can
retrieve it. I think I understand. I understand the referral. It was about the referral, right?
No, it was about the UDRA link and the submission. So it was if you submit via the gateway, is there any need to perform any other action in IRIS and UDRA link, something around those lines? But if we cannot, or I have it here, just a second. Yes, if we submit a variation via the gateway, do we also need to do something via IRIS, or is it only a replacement for UDRA link? Example, communication of the progress of the variation. Exactly. So submission is the only requirement at this stage from your end, and via IRIS, you will only receive a notification that your procedure has been created. You have access to the documents and details of this procedure, and during the procedure, for example, if you have to submit a document which is usually not submitted via ECTD, let's say a draft product information or some draft document may be required or urgently required that validation before ECTD submission, you will submit it via the portal, but it's really replacement of UDRA in terms of document exchange. So your assumption is correct.
Okay, thank you, Madalena. Okay, so before continuing, let's have a look at the quiz. The first question was, if a CAP MAH product contact has currently provided a generic mailbox, he or she can continue to use it after the transition. So 92% responded correctly, but this is false. So let's just restate that following the transition, generic mailboxes cannot be used anymore as product contact or contact person for the procedures. The second question was, a non-CAP MAH whose product is involved in a EMA-led procedure will need to indicate a product contact. So the answers were either true or false. So this one could have been a bit misleading because of some wording. So the correct response was false, because actually for non-CAP MAHs, so for MAHs with nationally authorized products, they don't need to indicate a product contact. This is only for CAP MAHs. In the case of non-CAP MAHs, it's a contact person related to the specific procedure. At the moment of the submission, this contact is indicated. Madalena, would you like to integrate? Since there was maybe some confusion about this question.
Well, you explained it very well. So the NAPs are not required to have a product contact in advance, but only if this product contact is set as a procedure contact, not product contact. If this contact is set as a procedure contact for the, let's say, a PSUR, then they need to have an IRIS account. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a last question that we have now opened if you want to respond. I hope you are able to see it, yes. Okay, so the question was, a CAP MAH needed to change the contact person will need to submit a form to EMA following a specific template and ensure to include a personal email for the new contact. So the correct answer was true, and you can find the instructions for that in the previous slides. So make sure, in case this is not clear, that after this session you go back to the presentation and you see all the steps that you should follow to request the change of the product contact. So congrats, John.
Nice.
And let's go to the next section on IRIS access for MAHs.
Thank you. Well done, everyone. Let me see, just to get the controls in place. Okay. Hope you can see my screen. Okay, so now we are going to go a little bit into in detail regarding the EMA-IM, so the account management system, and the IRIS link there. Of course, you may have attended extensive IAM training, so I'm not going to go very much in depth, but you would know that EMA account management has setting an EMA account will be performed via the EMA account management portal. You would have also their instructions and guides. You would need to request access for organization and look for the company you want to register for. It's organization ID and also location ID, because that's also very important. You would select one of the records representing the organization, and Also, in this context, you would request a relevant industry role for IRIS. There are a few prerequisites for these requests. Your EMA account is active. Your company is registered in OMS, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a marketing authorization holder, but most of you are affiliated to the marketing authorization holder. And of course, you need to have for this company an industry user admin, so that they can approve and coordinate the access. So if you don't have that in place, you probably need to set up industry user admin. Okay. Just waiting for the slide to change. And here it is. These are the available user roles. And we've discussed quite a bit about the industry manager, industry contributor. So the difference between industry manager and contributor is that the industry manager can be and can change the portal case contact. And they, of course, they have a wider set of rights than the contributor, so it's an umbrella. Then they can create new applications, of course, but not for the post-authorization procedures, where you submit via the e-submissions gateway and PSUR repository. But for other, let's say, scientific advice, other procedures, you can create new application. Once an application is created, you can edit it, you can submit, withdraw, and of course, assign other managers and contributors. The industry contributor can only cannot create, submit, and withdraw a submission. They all can exchange documents. So submit, for example, draft documents in case it's requested for a procedure. The industry coordinator has access to all submissions made on the behalf of an organization and can assign managers and contributors. So this is your person to go in case the contact hasn't had the opportunity to set any backups and to set other managers and contributors. The coordinator doesn't have access to the submission itself, to the submission content, but they can see and then can assign managers and contributors. And of course, you need an user admin to assign your roles you are requested for. So they cannot really access IRIS unless you have unless they are granted a specific role. How to access IRIS? I've gave you a glance of how to access. You of course need to sign in and log in with your EMA account. You would need a username and a password, and you will have a multi-factor authentication request in order to ensure that you are the user intended for this login. This is a little bit more information about the multi-factor authentication. I will leave it to you to read it afterwards. And I'm going to now go a little bit more in detail and on the procedure management actions you could take on the IRIS portal. And as an objective, you will understand how you could take these actions, how you can perform procedure management in the IRIS industry portal as an IRIS industry representative and a manager, contributor, or contact person of the case. IRIS has different interfaces, so components. What is relevant for you is the IRIS industry portal component, where industry stakeholders have access to their cases and can perform various actions. So with increased transparency, they have for certain processes the possibility to create submissions, not for the life cycle procedures, the post-authorizations, which are under discussion today. However, this is an option for other processes. They can view the submitted applications, populate admin data. They can share and receive documents with and from the European Medicines Agency and can have basically an overall status of the procedures and their outcomes and their status. What stays the same, and that's very important, the marketing authorization holders will still submit relevant ECTD or VNIS submissions, depending on the human and veterinary, of course, products, via the gateways and the PSUR repository. This remains unchanged. After a submission is received, only then a case is created in IRIS. So submission remains in the repository and the gateway. The timelines and the notification you receive today, so timetables remain the same, the milestone notification you receive today, and maybe slightly few others are also in place. You requesting for variations, withdrawal of single scopes, it's still done via email. However, the withdrawal of the full procedure, as mentioned before, it's done by the portal. But if you want to withdraw a single scope for variation, you'll do that still by email. The European Commission, for the time being, will still send you the decisions via UDRA link. What remains the same, of course, is the content and format of documentation and the guarantee of confidentiality. A short guide to or a guided tour towards the process flow for the marketing authorization holders, because now we include a new component, which is IRIS. We thought it's maybe useful to show you in a visual way that the submission, which takes place via ECTD or VNIS, is still done in the old system. And this is the gateway and the repository. Of course, you receive an acknowledgement of receipt there of successful submission. That will trigger a case creation in IRIS. I don't know if you could see my mouse, but I'm on the second quadrant here. So after submission, a case will be created in IRIS. If in case of validation step for some procedures, you will also receive some communications in case there's a request for supplementary information on that. So it's an opportunity to interact. So after the submission is received, a case is created in IRIS. An email notification is sent to the marketing authorization holder contact for that procedure. That the case is created with instructions in case you want to add contacts, change managers, and so on, or to change the contact and add other managers and contributors. Then the evaluation stage will start after, if applicable, validation. Via the portal, you will receive notifications. So you will receive the documents, but these documents will be of course, notified to you via email if you are a case contact. Once Emma shares a document with you, you'll receive an email that there is a document waiting in the portal, so you can go and check there. At this stage, it could be a preliminary assessment report, which you can review and submit additional information, usually via the gateway, via ECTD sequence. If there is a need just for some clarification, could be done by email, or a document, a draft document, for example, sent via the IRIS portal, which replaces UDRA link. And of course, in the evaluation, it would be maybe one or more cycles of exchange of assessment report and information as per today. So you will receive an information that a document is received. This replaces today's UDRA link email, but with the caveat that the notification from IRIS, it only tells you there is a document. So you need to log in and find your document there. Now, after the evaluation phase, you will receive the outcome of the procedure in form of documents submitted via the portal with their relevant notification sent via email. And throughout all this process, you would see that the case status changing, the details on the case changing, adding more timetables. So I'm going to demo that shortly, so you can visualize the level of access you will have to information. And following the outcome, it could be that you would need to have a linguistic review. There is where you will receive information how this will take place. Linguistic review process is performed as per today, so outside IRIS. However, the submission of final translations for the working document is going to be done in the IRIS portal and will be followed by an ECTD sequence. So just to reemphasize what kind of documents are submitted in which system. And of course, you will have this commission decision and IPAR publication, which also are part of the process. So the commission decision is sent via UDRA link. However, of course, we record it in IRIS, and we also perform the IPAR publication steps in IRIS as well. Okay, now this is a screenshots of visualizing the information on cases you can have on the portal. So you have some information, admin information about your procedure, timetables also, and you would also have some information about the product scopes in case of variation. And later on, once a procedure receives an outcome, you also have available the outcome in this screen. Of course, also in the documents you receive, but also the case also receives an outcome and is visible to you. Okay, so I'm going to show you now to take over the screen and show you the portal in the testing environment, so that see, we'll share the whole screen because I would like to demo a few of the functionalities you have. So after I logged in as showcased, I am having access to my ongoing submissions. Of course, there's also another menu of completed submissions. These are procedures which are closed, and you would be able to see them here. So once completed, they move into completed submissions, and there's a list, and you could access details there. For closed submissions, you cannot do any exchange of information. It's only to view them and, of course, access the documents which are there, but no longer submit documents via the portal. So going back to my ongoing submissions, I will have here option to view my case. There are two places or two ways I can do it. If you click directly on the procedure, then you will be able to see the form. So the information in the case, you will have information about precise scope. So this is included from your application form, and sometimes a little bit adjusted by the EMA, because there you have also some background and other information, product details, if there are presentations, which presentations are affected. If you had, for example, the procedure including non-CAPs, they would also be listed here. Resources, so your EMA assistant, your scientific officer, and your rapporteurs, and also the timetable. So the timetable, it's I can either click view details or click directly on the blue text. And the timetable includes all the steps. You would be able to see actual dates when they are filled in by the EMA, and a comment. For example, if there is a delayed assessment report or something relevant, you could see it here. So before writing an email to the product team, you may want to maybe check any information you have in the timetable if there is a comment regarding delay of the assessment report or any other information. Okay, so this is the part where you could view. If I go back either on my ongoing submission or just in the submission form here, I can see a menu where I have information about my procedure, where I can exchange details, and after the outcome is set up, I can also see the outcome details. So going back to my ongoing submissions, just to show you, if you clicked on the blue text, you just go one step before on the blue link. However, if you are here already, you can just say view edit submission, and here brings you again in the submission details. If you have a document from the EMA, you'd be able to see it here. I will actually want to do that, showing you a little bit also the EMA interface. You can see, for example, the example of an email from a PSUR where you have been informed that the PSUR case has been created for a number of products, because this was just, I was the only contact here set up. And same is also in the case of the variation. I am again the contact, and it tells me that I have a submission in IRIS and all the information I may want to know in case I want to change anything. So if I am going to share a document from the EMA side, and this is something you may want to know because it's a very nice and secure way to share. If I have a variation, for example, that only has one contact, so I will select and I will copy this document to the submission, which will trigger copying the last version of this document to your case there, and will trigger also a document sharing for you, and a notification on your email address. And if I'm going back to my procedure here, I will see already the document. So this is how the document looks like. You can open it, download it, and this is just a template, but you will see here the information, what was assessed by the rapporteur and so on. Okay, I'm going to close this one. Also show you the email notification. This is how it looks like. It doesn't tell you a lot, so you really need to go on the portal and access your documents there. This is how the EMA shares documents with you. In case you need to share documents with the agency, for example, let's say submitting the translations for after the linguistic review, you would go, documents from the applicant. And you would just add files, ideally, so you could zip them, or you could, of course, share one after the other documents. It really depends. There is a limit of 50 megabytes, if I'm not wrong, per file. So take that into consideration. If you want to overwrite the existing file, or you don't want to overwrite existing files, files with the same name will be overwritten. So in case you have submitted maybe something which you shouldn't, you can just replace this same document name. It will override the existing file. You would confirm that you uploaded all the documents you needed, and you save and return. And this will actually trigger a notification on the EMA side, and we will see it here. So the product team will be able to view this, and it looks like also something very simple. There is no new information from input from industry. We have a link, and this is the SharePoint folder, which is looking, or it's mirroring the portal folders, and that's the document which was sent from the industry, and I've just shared. Okay, so that's about exchange of documents in case of a variation. In case of a PSUR, the situation is a little bit more complex. I'm going to show you because, of course, you know, PSURs refers, they have different documents, let's say, shared because of the confidential data which is removed depending on the products there and the marketing authorization holders. So we will send the information only relevant for you. So the confidentiality guarantees kept, and I will have to choose which company and which product will receive. So for example, here I have the same company, so I can select them all. So this document will be copied in each of these submissions. So just to clarify, for PSUR and procedures which have multiple market or can have multiple marketing authorization holders, there is a submission created for each of these products. Of course, you've seen I only received one email because I was set as portal contact for all of them when the submission is created. But you'll have, in this case, 4 different submissions, and they will be, and the document will be shared with all of them. Or in case I have multiple different products, I will only select some of these companies or marketing authorization holders to share the document with. And let's say the second one can be sent to all of them, something like that. And this, of course, will trigger notification in the same way to the contact. They will go in the case and see the information there. So if I'm going to my ongoing submissions and I will select one of these PSUR cases, I'm going to show you how it looks like because I am contact for all of them. The case title is the same for all these 4. Of course, there's another submission number because it's another, let's say, entity they are created for the sole management of this procedure in the context of this product. So if I go here and say view edit submission, and I'm going to see documents from Emma, I just have one here, one document, because this was only shared for this product. I only shared one of the documents. So this is how it's working for procedures where I have multiple products. So it could be cup-nup situation here. If I go on the ongoing submissions, I'm going to also show you how the PSUR looks like, because I've showed you a variation. The PSUR information looks a little bit like this. You have this was a PSUR with outcome variation. So it has a PSUR timetable at PRAC and also a continuation at CHMP. That's what you are seeing. I didn't fill in any actual dates here, so it's not there. You would see details about the URD list and the product details, but you only see this product, yeah? So you don't see all the products involved here. And of course, again, information about your resources. What I would also like to emphasize is that you've seen that in the submission details, you only saw the submitted information more or less and some information about your resources and timetables. Once an outcome is received, so after the PRAC recommendation and or CHMP, CMDH, CVMP outcome, you would see also the outcome of the procedure from PRAC and CHMP in this situation. And of course, the outcome per product. Sometimes in very rare cases, different products can have different outcomes. So that's why this is listed, and also which annex documents are affected. So product information. And I would like to also show you for variation, the same thing. I have also a variation in early stage. So if I go here to see view edit submission, you'd see that it's under validation. I do not have an outcome because it's not the outcome was not received. But if I go to a variation which is, let's say, pending resolution, it should have an outcome. And so this is how you, but of course the procedure is not yet closed. So it's still under my ongoing submissions because it's not closed. For example, it's waiting for a linguistic review for, other information. And this is where you see the approved scope, the precise scope, the approved scope, the annexes, the scope's outcome. Okay, and with this, I think I'm close to the end of the demo. Just making sure I didn't miss anything for you. Yeah, I will stop my sharing my screen and hand over to Katerina back. Thank you.
Thank you, Madalina. So I've just launched the next quiz concerning what we discussed in this part of the session. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Q&A because we have a lot of questions. So let's go here. So which roles in IRIS are necessary for communication around SUSE procedures?
For communication and collaboration, you still need an industry manager role for your contact. And of course, if you only want, or if you have some colleagues who only need to contribute, you can also add a contributor.
Okay, thank you. What users should the QPPV or deputy QPPV have for NAPS?
Depends. So if it's in the context of a referral, and it's a safety referral, the QPPV will need to have a manager role. Otherwise, for communication, a contributor role is sufficient. We are also going to set up few information just to make sure that at the creation of a referral, for example, you get the instructions. So as per the model I showed, so it's not. But ideally, you have an IRIS account because, for example, if a referral starts and you have no account and no roles, it's going to take you time to get that in place, and that's not advisable in the case of these procedures.
Okay, thank you. Variations won't be possible by IRIS for nationally authorized products.
IRIS is going to be used for the EMA-led procedures. So nationally approved products are only are only covered in, for example, work sharing variations of a centrally approved product with NAPS, or PSUSAs with NAPS only referrals, because these are EMA-led procedures, but not the full life cycle of a NAP is covered, of course.
Thank you. Could you please clarify why the contacts for quality or for European Commission decision must have access to IRIS?
So for the European Commission decision, as I mentioned, for the time being, they are going to send the decision still via Udrlink. However, you do need to prepare for onboarding into IRIS, because this is just a short-term measure. In the next year, we are going to investigate and implement how to incorporate this process in IRIS. So the document should be received in the future from IRIS. And also, for example, for quality, if there is, let's say, some issue with your product, or there's a quality defect, or some shortage in required or information communication, you do need to have an IRIS account, because communication and collaboration is only enabled by having this account.
Thank you. So this question is about whether for variations type 1A, 1B, type 2, we will still be able to submit on Simplicity portal or will we only be able to submit through IRIS? So submissions will not happen via IRIS. It's procedure management that will happen via IRIS. But Maddalena, if you want to integrate.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so please, when we publish the presentation, we'll send today for publication, so maximum tomorrow. Please have a look again at these slides because note that submission will not happen via IRIS, but via the current gateway and PSUR repository. Can we have a generic mailbox linked to an individual name like for QPPV? Same for contact persons. For section 2 for these sections?
So, no, you can. It's not possible due to security reasons. And if the QPPV is meant to collaborate via IRIS, which will happen in the future, you also need a personal mailbox for the QPPV too. So an individual address, not only name.
Exactly. If an MAH already has a nice NICE point of contact registered and they hold non-cap MAs, is that considered a contact person already registered in IRIS?
Well, iSpoke it's used for the shortages. So if you have roles for IRIS, you are registered in IRIS with the same email address. So you need to check if your contact really has IRIS access. So the roles of IRIS coordinator, manager, contributor. So all those roles explained in the one of the previous slides.
In case the QPPV has registered a generic mailbox as contact email, so yes, it should be changed to a personal mailbox. How quickly after submission of a variation PSUR, etc., down the MA Gateway PSUR repository will a case be created in IRIS?
So PSURs are usually pre-created, so that's going to be once the start date is due, you will receive even before a new notification. And for variations and renewals and all those procedures which need a submission before creation, it's a matter of few days. So it's normal registration process at the EMA.
Thank you. Can you specify what relevant IRIS role means? Which roles need to be applied for?
It's explained in one of the slides, and you can watch the recording also.
Did I understand correctly that initial marketing authorization applications will not go via IRIS?
Currently, that's correct. Or the initial applications for marketing authorization for centrally approved products will be onboarded to IRIS next year.
Non-cap. HQ person is our contact person. However, MAHs are local affiliates. Does this contact person need to be associated in EMA account and in IRIS with all these MAHs, or is the association with the mother company headquarters sufficient?
I would need to come back to this in writing because I'm not sure. So we'll respond in writing on this one.
Can you explain better the difference between the different roles, contributor, manager, coordinator? So we have a specific slide that is dedicated to that, but I don't know, Maddalena, if you want to anticipate something.
No, I think because it's explained there maybe, and it's also in the IRIS guide for registration, which will be shared with you. It's better to consult those and we can take other questions.
Exactly, yeah. If you are a service provider and work for several MAHs, do you need one IRIS account for all MAHs or several accounts for each MAH?
You would need to apply in IAM for each of these MAHs and they need to provide you the access.
Okay.
I think your account is really one, but you will have different roles for different MAHs.
Will UDRA disappear and be disabled, and by which date?
So UDRA will be disabled in the future, but we do not have yet a date for it.
Okay. So let's just have a really quick pause to look at the poll. So the question was, post-authorization procedures will be submitted via IRIS after the transition. True or false? So the correct answer was false, because as we said, post-authorization procedures will not be submitted by IRIS, but by the current gateway and PSUR repository. They will be only managed in IRIS. So after the submission, you manage the procedure in IRIS for EMA-led procedures. Then we have another question that was launched. So please feel free to respond. I think we have no responses yet for, oh yes, okay. So the question was, timelines and active email notifications on the main milestones of the submission, outcome, etc., will remain unchanged after the transition. This is true. Now go back to the questions, but before just the next steps. So coming up, we have this public system demos, an event on 12th of December. Then we will update the user guide and the FAQ. Also, in the FAQ in particular, we will check the most voted questions that we got today in order to update it. And also after the go live, we'll have Q&A clinics. And here we have references to all these useful documents, and to the IRIS forum and IRIS email. But please, for technical questions, please submit them via service desk. So we can go back to the Q&A. But meanwhile, I will launch the last poll for today, which is a quick feedback survey. So we can get your feedback on this session. It doesn't really take much time to fill in. It's just a rating question and an open text question in case you want to leave some comments. Please fill it in, because it's really useful for us. We read all of your comments, and in case you have any suggestion for improvement, we will of course take it into account for next sessions. Thank you, and let's go back to the Q&A for these last 10 minutes. Which role is best to be used by the QPPV in IRIS for non-capped?
I would choose industry manager, because then you are not limited in your ability to manage and collaborate on a case.
For an PSUSA submission, should all MAH impacted by PSUSA request IRIS access?
Yes.
Okay. What about organization type applicant, not MAH yet? Are applicants supposed to apply for IRIS industry role?
Yes, and I have an example. If you're part of a referral and your product is not yet approved, you're not yet an MAH. But it's really for still for this type of procedure.
If a QPPV is in UDRA vigilance, do they still need to register as an IRIS industry manager?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way to see the list of contacts registered already for the organization you are the administrator of? Is there any plan to include this as a feature to assist in future management? Yes,
so currently that's why we sent you the emails to inform you which roles you have. So we did specify per product, per contact role, and per contact this information. This is because SIMED has its limitations, and indeed in the future we will try to, we are exploring already a possibility to have a feature to update your own contacts in the portal. And in Iris, of course, in account management, the contributor can see the coordinator, I think, can also see the users, and probably also the admin can also see the users, which users, because the admin approves the users and the rights for the respective organization. But we are exploring also the self-service of setting your own product contacts for centrally approved products.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, because I'm reading comments, we know we have many questions. We will make sure that after this session, we will triage them and we'll make sure we respond to as many questions as possible in writing. So keep the Slido and monitor. We will keep the Slido active, and please go back to it to check if your question was responded also. In maximum a couple of days. Thank you. If I understood correctly, it's not possible to have a second person to receive a notification. Should we monitor the MH Industry Coordinator Iris portal proactively?
Yes, if you have no. For example, you can assign. So if you don't have a person. Which, well, if your contact is not available for some reason and you know their contact for a procedure, of course you can monitor the portal and then add other managers once a submission is available, there are cases available. Yes, but also at the same time you can also set an auto forward for Iris emails. So if this person is not available, emails notifications can reach other colleagues.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will take this feedback into account for next times. We will have a quiz separate. Thank you. Why are the non-centrally authorized products contacts needed if Iris is set up to handle the caps? Is this for work sharings with national products?
It's for PSUSAs and referrals and passes, where EMA is leading these procedures, and they can have multiple NAPs, can be NAPs only, so non-caps. For variations, work sharings, including NAPs, you don't need to have a contact because the lead contact is the one from the centrally approved product, right? But it's really for PSUSAs most frequently, as all the PSUSAs are led by the EMA.
Okay, thank you. How can we download everything, meaning all information and documents available in a case for archiving purposes of a company? It seems cumbersome to take screenshots for timelines, for examples.
Well, you have this information also in the assessment report once it's received, but you have to agree this is an upgrade of the current system. Today, you do not have any information on the timetables before you receive the preliminary assessment report, right? So at this stage, when a procedure is created in Iris, you already have access to the timetables. There is no option now to have all these timelines in the main view, but it's really one click away from the case view.
Thank you. What exact role should the QPPO NAP ask for? I think we already answered this. So could you please clarify what should still be submitted via ECTD?
Yes, so I've seen another question. Please note there is no submission via Iris. You submit via ECTD or NIS in case of veterinary products, and the gateway or repository your procedures as per today. The submission process does not change.
Okay. Thank you. Our QPPV and us for managers are registered in IRIS for the same organizations. What happens when a communication is sent via EMA? Is the communication sent to all of us?
It really depends what procedure we are talking about and the circumstance. So, for example, if you are a QPPV in a safety referral, you will be the default contact for communication. However, if you are a QPPV for the procedure, if you are a QPPV for the product, but at the submission of a PSUR, someone else is a contact for that procedure, for the PSUR, for the NAPS, for the nationally approved product, then that contact is going to be informed via the automated notifications.
Thank you. Currently, it is unclear to us why we need to have a batch release responsible person registered in IRIS. Can you please help us understand whether EMA will be contacting batch release responsible directly?
Well, if there was no need to contact the batch release, there would be no need to record it in the MR database. So currently they are recorded. That is for a reason to be able to be contacted. They are not the main priority now to receive an IRIS account. However, it's also not very difficult to get an IRIS account. And since IRIS will be used as a system to manage all the life cycle procedures and of course others, it's really a good opportunity to onboard all your contacts. Yeah, if there is a situation where you need to be contacted, you will not be this would not be easily possible.
Okay, thank you. Do the second contributors also receive emails from IRIS regarding a specific case?
No, only the manager with the contact set as a contact for the procedure.
By which date should the contact persons have access in IRIS?
We've extended the deadline by 30th of November. Of course, the procedures will be transitioned at the end of the year, but we also need some time to perform these updates. Yes, so the moment you are logging an update or an update in contact or in an email address, it's not automatically and instantly done. It needs some time to do some checks. We already have some pending, a few hundreds of actually requests, and it takes time. So that's why the deadline is not 1st of January.
Okay, thank you. What specifically is the security problem that the IRIS team sees with generic mailboxes?
I would need to, so I would refer you to the security team. There is let's say, threat regarding the confidentiality of the data, the access of users which are not authorized to access data. So the generic mailbox does mean that multiple users have a password and have access to an account, and that's not in line with the security guidelines. So that would be the short answer. However, if you need to have like really specific information, it's better maybe we write this question with Market and we can provide exactly the explanation. But these are the security summary.
Okay, so our time unfortunately is over for today, but we will, as said, triage and respond to the remaining questions. And then we will contact you via email as soon as the recording is published, so that you are notified as soon as this is available. So we will contact all people who registered for this session, because we're aware that some did not connect via WebEx, but directly via the broadcast. And so that you have all the steps available, you can rewatch it as many times as you want. And thank you to all of you who are leaving the feedback via the feedback survey, because we will read all your comments. And and check if there is room for improvement. And so thank you very much for your engagement. And I leave the floor to Madalina for closing.
Well, just what's remaining for me is to thank you for your time and attendance. The session is indeed recorded. We'll try to respond to all your questions. Please, help yourselves and us to proceed to the actions which are required, rewatch the training to be acquainted with the system. And if you have any question, please log and ask him a question for follow-up. And thanks for your time. Have a nice day.